Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Free Arkansas. Today, Kate and I talk to Whit Nicholson. Whit is a lifelong Arkansan who's pioneering the food and beverage space in Northwest Arkansas. He's currently the bar manager for the Guisinger Club. We talk all about eating in Arkansas, drinking in Arkansas, where he gets inspo from, and what he does on a day off. It's a super interesting episode where we really get to dive into that space in Northwest Arkansas and how the hospitality industry in Arkansas is continuing to grow. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we did.
Whit, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Do you want to just kick us off real quick and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Sure. Grew up in Russellville, Arkansas with Annabelle. And we graduated from the same high school class. And so grew up there, came to school to go into business school at the University of Arkansas. Right now, I'm one of the general managers of the Guisinger Cocktail Club. My title is over the bar and service team. And I've been here since day one. I've worked for the group that opened it since before they had the concept and the place at all. And so I've been really able to be a part of it since it's the idea's inception and then the concept and the build out.
I just know this about you, but you have, because Whit and I are very good friends, everybody, that you have traveled all over, you've lived a bunch of different places. How do you think about the inspo that you've gotten from places you've traveled or eaten at or drank at, and then you take back to Guisinger and what you do every day there? How do you think that inspo translates?
Yeah, I think when I got into this, I just kind of really became obsessed with it, and I like to learn. And I'm wanting to really learn more. At first about the bar world and drinks and how that you're supposed to do that, the right ways to do things, how the leaders of the industry did them across the world. So picking up on things that I'd seen before when maybe that wasn't my aspiration or goal. And so tapping into past experiences, I think I find a lot of inspiration there looking back on things when maybe I wasn't so focused on food and beverage. But also just to I don't know, I'm constantly wanting to know what is being done new and how we can use that or how we shouldn't use that, and seeing how that fits into what we do here. I think we have a huge advantage in Arkansas that we're a little bit behind those big metropolitan areas and those real needle pushers in the hospitality world. And so there's a lot to be learned, and there's a lot to bring to people that can be surprised and shown a new experience that they're not familiar with. And I think that is one of the most exciting things that I find from going and being inspired by other places.
Yeah.
Is there a particular bar or restaurant out there in Arkansas or beyond that you feel does it really darn well? Or even where you're oh, this is where the inspiration for Guisinger lies, and I want to, that's where the bulk of the inspiration came from for your current bar.
Yeah, I think where the inspiration for Guisinger lies exists in a lot of different places. There were a lot of different meetings and brainstorming ideas of what we saw out there that we liked and what we wanted to bring to Fayetteville, but what we thought would work here. And I think we serve an interesting range of people, and you have to be open to that, and you have to make sure that we're meeting those people, where they're at, where they want to, drink and eat, and what they want to drink and eat, and not, just I think you could be too pretentious here very quickly, and people would get turned off by that. But I think there's so much to learn from different places in terms of the hospitality and the service that we give. One of my main personal inspirations, after reading a book by Will Guidera, who was the general manager of 11 Madison Park for years and built that restaurant into a lot of what it is today and how it's run. And then, that's a book that no one will be unfamiliar with, but what it talks about and the lessons that can be learned are incredible, and have incredible impact on people. And I think that's what hospitality is all about, is the impact that we have on people, the experience that people get to come and have in our space, and then how they feel when they leave our space. And I recently was in New York and got to go to a bar that's operated in the space at 11 Madison Park by the 11 Madison Park team, but also separately. But their beverage director is a guy named Sebastian Tolius, and he's a guy that I look up to in the beverage world and what they do with their cocktail program and how they are sustainable, but how clean and how expertly like executed everything is. And that stems from the ideas that come from 11 Madison Park. So reading that book, being a follower of a lot of those people involved in that place, got to go there and have an over the top kind of incredible experience and experience all those different things that you read about in the book. And it just kind of sparked that hospitality fire again. And when you come back to a place that you get to lead a team, you get to feel, take that back to them and show how we can implement different things immediately or over time, or just, the ideas that we need to be thinking about, the culture that we need to be trying to emulate. And I think that would be somewhere that I'm personally really inspired by. They operate, on a totally different level than what we do here conceptually as a fine dining, best in the world restaurant, and as kind of like a local, I don't know what I'd describe it, but just a local watering hole in its simplest form is what we have here. And, but the service and the way you make people feel, it's the same. And you can do all these different little things and learn from how they do it on a larger scale and with vast resources that we don't have. It's inspiring for sure.
I have not been to that bar yet, but I'm dying to go, especially after
I know you have,
experience. Kate and Mason went and they loved it.
And
we did. Well, we've also been to Guisinger.
Yeah.
We've also been to Guisinger with a big group and we loved it too. And you're right. It's just two different settings, two different bars, but you can tell walking into the Guisinger after being in other bars in Arkansas, you guys definitely know what you're doing. And so that's why it's exciting to hear you talk to what gets you fired up, what's important, where you're getting your inspiration from. But yeah, Bar Clemente, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Clemente. It's named after an artist that they collaborated with on the space. And that space is incredible. And what I walked away with was how warm and comforting they made you feel, but yet the level of professionalism and precision was so high. And so it's you can do that. You can make people feel warm and bubbly without giving them a hug or approaching on these different things. It's
or talking too much too. People don't.
Right. And exactly, like I said, meeting people where they're at, and knowing what kind of experience they want, and then how can I best serve that experience. I think that's something I talk to our team about a lot, and servers especially, about building those kind of personal relationships with the table over time. But being in New York this last time, one of the things that I really picked up on was there's hospitality to learn from every different concept or everything you walk in. I mean, whether it's, a bodega, or whether it's a street cart, or whether it's, one of the best bars in the world, or whether it's a neighborhood bar that is just, there and doing things pretty well. It's a hard city to compete in, and everybody has to execute at a high level, no matter what they do. And it's inspiring to see. It's inspiring to see that, nobody's taking shortcuts, and nobody's, the hospitality is the same. People are greeting you with a smile for the most part. I think it gets a bad rap for not having that Southern hospitality charm, but I find that people are overly nice. They've got to get your business, right? They've got to compete with so much. So I think that was kind of cool to see this time and really take note of.
Why do you think that you and the team at Guisinger, and there are a few other concepts in Northwest Arkansas doing this, but why do you think it's important to bring these sort of elements to Arkansas and to the consumer in Arkansas? Why is that important to you?
And before you before you go on that, maybe define who Guisinger's clientele is, and then what you're to Belle's point, what you're trying to deliver to them.
Yeah, I think when we open, we talk about who are we trying to hit, right? And it's the young professional. We're shooting for that young professional crowd, and this ties to the question that you're asking as well, Annabelle. It's those people that live here now, those people that work for Walmart and Tyson and JB Hunt, and those growing corporate communities. they want that, and they want those experiences that they see in the different cities, and they're, they don't walk out their door and see that. I think what I love about the brand, larger than Guisinger, but the group that I work for, they do a great job of seeing what the community is kind of asking for and the different concepts that they've opened, and all being very successful in that, but being able to see, all right, well, what do we not have that people kind of see somewhere else and then come home and they can't have that experience? And then go out and let's be inspired by those different places and see how, again, we can bring it back here and make it right for our demographic. Because at the same time, I say we're shooting for that young professional kind of crowd that is still wanting to hang out and still wanting to be cool, but has a little bit more money to spend than they used to. We want to provide for that, but also we serve, people from age 50 to 75 in a cocktail hour all the time that fills our space with its own atmosphere. And then it kind of shifts and it'll change. And then at the end of the night, we see a huge influx of big groups of girls and guys that are seniors and older in college that, may also have a job or something, or just coming out to have a little bit of a nicer night. But, on Thursdays and Fridays, we get huge influxes of that. And we wouldn't be as successful if we didn't have that. So I think we still have to shoot for what we're shooting for, because those people want to come because it's that, right? It's like the older crowd wants to come hang out at the cool younger kid place. And then the younger crowd wants to come hang out at the cool older kid place. I feel like we kind of fall right in the middle of that. Mm-hmm. And for a town that we can't hit one demographic, we got to hit everybody if we're going to fill our space and be successful,
Totally. When Whit was in New York, we went to a Japanese listening bar and there's no talking. I feel like that we're not really, maybe Arkansas is not ready for one of those, but
we have to say yes, and we can, and we'll figure that out for you a lot, because when you start saying no to people around here, you get a bad rep, and you don't, we're not trying to be the place that only has that crowd or this crowd. And so you gotta figure it out.
I feel like you would agree with this. Growing up in Russellville, where there's so many great smaller restaurants, but there's not necessarily a huge amount of cool hip places to definitely not drink, but eat. Right. And I think that it sort of gets overlooked as something that's maybe super cosmopolitan or even vain. But in reality, it is so important to developing culture and even learning, getting to go see someone super passionate about making these really intricate cocktails. It's a great way to enjoy your time off, but also learning, connecting, building culture. So I love that it's in Arkansas. I think it's so cool. Right. People might not even realize how fortunate they are to have places like that.
Yeah. And I think that's why I find myself lucky to be working for them and be in the position I am. Cause I do think it's, someone has to just do that, right? Someone has to say that we're going to invest in a place and then, invest in another place. And we're going to build this because we want the community to have this. And really that's what it's about, is, people from Fayetteville that want to invest in Fayetteville, and they, we see the growth, we see what's happening. You see the outside developers coming in, and I think it's easy for those places to pop up and those places to be, hey, this is a cool new spot. But oftentimes they lack this authenticity and real character. And I think what I love about what we've been able to do is our places really feel like Fayetteville and feel like they're going to be part of Fayetteville, and grow with the community, but, still have that down to earth kind of feel that they've been grown from people in the community. So I think that's part of one of the coolest things. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just find yourself, you're born and raised in Arkansas, you're from Russellville, but you've found this niche pocket of the state that is just growing exponentially, and the growth is on fire. There's new people all the time. Some of those people are from Arkansas. Some of them aren't. They're coming in from New York, and they have these different experiences. They've been to Clemente and such. So I think it's cool to hear you talk about that. And then even I'd love for you to touch on the landscape of maybe the company that, you're working for right now that has Guisinger, that landscape or ambiance or vibe compared to the other places that are working well for them and how they differ, maybe how they're the same. And then also just, I mean, you're down in Fayetteville, only 25 minutes from me up here in Bentonville, but there's likely, or at least I can kind of see it, but I'd love to see it in your words. Like, what's the bar scene landscape between Fayetteville, Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, even? Like, how do you see that evolving? Or are there different pockets maybe that they're each known for?
Yes. Okay, let's see. Let's start at like sorry, you got me thinking about a
That
lot of
was a lot.
they're talking about
Northwest
Bentonville.
Arkansas bar scene for dummies.
Well, yeah, okay. So what our brand has been able to do, and I think I'll start with like saying you have these people that are coming in, and so we see these opportunities that, like, there's holes in our community of what needs to be filled. The first place that they opened was Feed and Folly, and a super just like neighborhoody kind of gastro pub. They originally called it, built this rooftop bar patio on top of an old building that had sat vacant for a really, really long time. And it was like, wow, who would have thought to go up there and put a patio on that? And it's one of the best views in Fayetteville, and it's incredible. And it's a full service bar up there, and then table restaurant service up there. And I think people really, well, they opened right in the middle or the beginning of COVID, so service changed for a while. They get through that, then it kind of gets to come back open in its full form, and people really loved it and bought into that. And it just became a really popular spot. Then they got the opportunity to, I really don't even remember how it came about, but it's an old AT&T service truck lot, originally, like overhang kind of pavilion thing that existed, and a just dirty gravel lot. And they buy that with the vision to turn it into like this beer garden, outdoor park / bar restaurant thing. And they did. And it's like an incredible readaptive use of the space. It's along the creek that backs up to the greenway. There's plans to soon build like a connection over the water and do like a whole restoration of that creek up into the neighborhood that it borders.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And it was something that people, when it was nice, outdoor almost completely. So when it was nice, people kind of started going, and it just kind of took a while to get its traction. But now it's like one of the most popular places in town, I'd say. The food's great. It's like smash burgers and tacos and nachos and frozen margs and beer taps. And so it has become a place that people are obsessed with. They have huge days on the game days. And then they've done a lot to build out where they can also be open during the winter and enclose that kind of overhang space that they originally had built around. So it's become a place that people really, really enjoy. And I think you see places like that, like Katy Trail Ice House was kind of some of the original vision for that. And it's like, that's been around in Dallas for 20 years. And there's not a place that even remotely resembled that. There's not a place that you could really go reliably watch a sports game and have a burger and, a beer around here for a while. And I think they just kind of saw that need and thought it would work. And it like I said, it's taken some time, but it's crushing now. And then got approached about this building that Guisinger's in, which has been here since the late 1880s and is on the square, a really classic building in Fayetteville, but had been for its most recent history, the Roots Music Festival headquarters. And then it had been the Odom law firm for a long time. But way back in the day, for like nearly 100 years, it was the Guisinger Music House. And it started in another building on the square. And they sold pianos. And they literally used to, so, okay, I'm going to try to, these old photos are real, but this one right here is, so right up here it says Guisinger, like W.L. Guisinger Brothers. And then so they would load a piano up on a horse-drawn buggy, take it around until they sold it, like knocking on doors, and then return home for the day, just selling piano at a time. Yeah. And then grew that business into a full-scale like music store. This photo is actually the music store, and obviously you can't really see those great, but when you come in, you'll have to check them out. They're very cool. But you can see a shot down this space, and it almost looks like the bar. So it's kind of funny, like their counter went in the same way that our bar kind of went. And so I feel like the bar and the way we built it out really looks like it's been here for as long as the building has and kind of fits into that building. But they got approached about this place as a developer saying, we own this. We're kind of wondering what we should do with it. And they came in here and they were like, well, this should be a cocktail bar. And
We got an idea.
all these little snugs were built out already as record listening rooms back in the day. And so they were all kind of, this structure was here, and it was like, oh, this could so easily be a bar. And then the conversation was,
it'd be so interesting
who's
to
going to
know, like,
open it? Who's
all
going to
the
run
other
it? And, you know, they said we would. And, and the concept ran away. What were you saying?
It'd be interesting to know, like, all the other places in Arkansas that have buildings like that could be, like, so perfect for cocktail bars that are just like sitting there.
Something that I just drive around this town. I'm like, oh, that'd be a great restaurant, or that would be this kind of concept, or this would be this kind of concept, or this would work well here. And we get the opportunity now to look at a lot of spaces, and, you know, there's new things on the horizon, and there's concepts that are to come, and hopefully will be more of that, you know, meeting the community where they want to be met and what they want. There's some fun things in the future.
Like, how early are you involved in the process? Like, are you picking paint colors, looking at tiles,
For
like
sure.
any of that stuff?
100%. And I'm mouthy. I won't let my opinion go. And so I speak up. I honestly have had to really, you know, learn when is the right time to speak up and when is the wrong time to speak up in these times. But there's so many things that I care about. And I look at and I go, I really think it should be like this, or I really, you know, it's so I heard about the concepts. You know, I'll talk about when I went to Feed and Folly. I got behind the bar, started working there. That's where I really started like learning as much as I could, and like eventually worked into where I was leading kind of the bar program there. When they started talking about this idea, and I'd also gone and I was working at the same time at a cocktail bar in town called Vault, which has been here for almost 10 years, and really a leader of cocktails in Arkansas. The guy who ran it for a long time is Sean Traxler, and he was a guy that I got to go and learn a ton from. And if this wouldn't have happened, I would have worked there for maybe a lot longer, and things could have gone totally different. But they started talking about this, and I just immediately was like, wow, that sounds really cool. Just that they were going to open some kind of cocktail bar, or they were looking for, you know, if they were going to do it, or they were looking at this space. And I had just said, man, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know who is involved in that at the beginning or whatever, but I would just love to be involved with that. I would love to have some kind of role. I'd love to see how that build out goes. So it gets talked about in the background a little bit more. I'm still working at Feed and Folly. And then my general manager at Feed and Folly came to me and had said that, you know, he had kind of pushed for me, and they had, you know, come to agreement that me and another person were going to go and head and lead that team up. And so from that point on, we start getting in the building, the renovations start happening. But yeah, there for all of that, and building out, like, you know, the program and menu and all that at the same time alongside. So got to have my full hand in all of that, and really gracious about the opportunity. You know, when I decided that I was going to buy in, I knew part of that was that I felt like I had opportunity with the people that I worked for. And they've answered and given me that opportunity. And I hope that, you know, I can do as much as I can to, you know, make the brand great, because it's something that I truly do believe in as a whole. And so I can't appreciate them more for giving me that kind of shot. Yeah.
That sort of transitioned into my next like thought of questions. We think about the type of people that like work at these different hospitality concepts and that love it and make a career. Do you feel like there's a shift in people? Like, I mean, I feel like for you, and maybe like, did you start out just like, this is a side job and you're like, okay, I'm going to like learn to make drinks to make some money, and like, and then now it's like morphed into your career. Do you feel like there's other people on that same path, or like, who do you guys employ? How do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of different people. And it's hard to tell. I think in our industry in general, there's a lot of people that are here to do it for now and going to move on to something else. And that's great. I think there's a lot of people that we love that are great workers and that buy into the brand and give incredible hospitality, that are incredibly passionate about something else, or going to school for something else, or, you know, have totally different goals. But I would say that's harder and harder to find. Just in
Really?
general, it's harder to find people that want to come work, want to come do it the right way, which, you know, want to come do it your way. That is a hard thing in the bar world a lot of times, and you deal with that. But we're trying to serve the Guisinger consistent product, not, you know, some bartenders, whatever. And so a lot of times we have to, not that we deal with that with anybody that we have working here, but a lot of times you have to, I think, watch for that or be careful of, you know, sometimes people have a ton of experience and a ton of things to bring to the table, but also, is that just going to totally throw a wrench in everything that you've put together and built? And, you know, how's that going to look with the culture that you have? And so you always have to be careful of that. It's more and more rare, I think, that you'd find, like when I said, I think I have opportunity here, I don't think that opportunity is really that abundant. I think I had a really unique opportunity with the group, with the town, with the concept that they wanted to open, that I was really excited that, you know, if they said they were going to go open another, you know, city park smash burger kind of place, that's not something that maybe was as excited about at the time and wanted to go buy into the team if they gave me that opportunity. And so it was a lot of things, I think, aligned that I could have said, yeah, this is a unique and valuable opportunity.
Tell us a little bit. I had friends who went to your New Year's Eve, or the Guisinger's New Year's Eve party, and loved it. They we had them over the other day for brunch, and they couldn't stop raving how drinks were $8 after they paid a cover. And they're like, I mean, again, we're up here in Bentonville, and to get a drink for $8, it's like living in New York City up here. Going down to Fayetteville, it's a hike, but it's a way cheaper night out. So maybe tell us about your event, how New Year's Eve went, what were the highlights there? And then again, can you help me lean into like the landscape of the NWA bar scene and how maybe Fayetteville and the different neighborhoods differ?
Yeah, that's an event that we did last year for the first time. And we just kind of were feeling it out, and it felt like everybody else was feeling it out with us, and it went over great. But we came back this year and like, here's some things that we can really improve on. And so I think it was important for us that we said, hey, we're going to sell a ticket that gets you in the door. And a lot of people go, well, does that get me a table? And does that get me this? And, you know, we have a range of people that we serve. And there's a lot of people that question that price and say, is this going to be worth it at all? And so we asked people to pay $75 to get into the door to come have a night at the Guisinger. And so for us, it's like, we got to make that worth it when they leave. And again, how people are feeling when they leave. And so, with that, we make sales from the tickets, and we can go ahead and, you know, we can discount the cocktails that we then offer on a limited basis that night. We have hors d'oeuvres that we pass throughout the night, and a DJ that's local, a group called the Odeon Collective, and they're second year working with them, and they're really incredible. And I think they provide a really cool vibe. They do only vinyl that they bring in, and it's so fun to watch them and watch the range of a vibe they can create, and to think, oh my gosh, they're pulling all these records. You know, it's just, they're not getting to look whatever they want up, and they're really cool and fun people to work with. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I've heard that from some other people. It's really made me happy, because it's something that I was worried about. You know, I don't want people to feel like we're ripping them off, or, you know, the Guisinger, you know, to go to a night out at the Guisinger's $75, and then you got to still pay for drinks. But, you know, we still are using the high quality drinks that we serve every night. You know, we're not changing any of that so that we can save money. It's, you know, I think other places you'd say, oh, I'm going to go and pay this and then get drinks, but then you don't know what you're getting in terms of what those spirits that they're pouring. And so it's still the same high level Guisinger quality, discounted only because you bought a ticket in. And it's a great event. It's a lot of fun. And to speak to
and it's
the
not
bars,
just the drinks, right? It's the atmosphere,
right?
The service, the food.
Well, and I think this year people really came and were ready to buy in and have a good time. It was incredible to see. Yeah. Last year, people a little more timid. This year, people came, you know, found their spot, found their crew. The dance
Ready to
floor
go.
was full the entire time. Yeah, it was much more of a New Year's Eve party as it should be. And so I hope we can build on that and people keep coming back year and year again.
That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. It's really
Thank
cool.
you. To speak on the bar scene a little bit, it's small and growing. I think we have a few great spots, and there's more and more opening. But I think Fayetteville's changing. You're seeing places on Dixon that were bars changing into restaurants or, small restaurants. And, there's a new place that opened that's kind of a nicer concept restaurant that was in an old bar. And so it's interesting to see that street kind of change, but then more bars pop up in kind of our area of the square and Block Street. And so I think things are just changing a little bit as far as the bars here. That the classic Maxine's and Vault has become like a classic cocktail bar, and I think we are in that rotation now. And I think those same kind of people want to go to those places and rotate through. Pinpoint is a fun place that is included on that in Block Street, and does have a pretty cool cocktail program on top of the vintage pinball scene that they got going on. But I think all the spots down here are just really authentic. Like, the people in them are authentic and Fayetteville local people. And any reason, and I know these people, so it's more of that. But I think a lot of people go to these bars for the people that work in them and the people that they go back and see, and they kind of can make these relationships with. It's like a lot of people can name all the people that work at Vault. A lot of people can name all the people that are behind the bar at Maxine's and have friendships and personal relationships with them. And I think that's a lot what makes it special. Springdale is seeing an incredible amount of growth in restaurants and beverage. The new Onyx that they put up there, and some of the restaurants that are popping up on the Emma Street kind of revitalization that they're doing is really cool to see. I think Rogers, the same way, they're downtown, is having this kind of blow up kind of moment. They've got a really cool bar down there called Pinky Swear. The chef just got nominated for a James Beard award.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, Jason Paul Roth is his name, but I cannot think of the restaurant. Terrible.
1907.
1907. Okay, yes. That's an incredible place, and a place that's doing things in this area and pushing the boundary a lot, And Bentonville always has cool stuff going on. I think Bentonville gets a bad rap that like things are just popping up and don't have the same kind of character, but that's for people that don't go there all the time to say. I think if you're going into places that have been classic Bentonville places, you're going to get those experiences, and there's incredible food up there. The new place that Matt Cooper just opened looks absolutely stunning, and I haven't gotten to go there either yet, but I'm very excited. I just had a friend that went and said it was an incredible experience, and things like that are just so cool to see happening in Arkansas, and that you don't have to travel that far to have this incredible tasting menu experience and that's on a farm, and you walk the farm, and that's like this beautiful hospitality experience that is happening right here. And so there's things to learn from in our backyard, and I'm always keeping up with what's new and changing, and in the same way that the talent is coming in for these corporations, I think in the same way the talent for the culinary scene kind of comes in as well.
It makes me as excited as someone who I live in New York now, obviously, and it's, I can go downstairs at my apartment and there's an awesome bar that has craft cocktails, and obviously that's a very authentic to New York experience, but it's exciting to see I can move home and have all these amazing things that I love about New York City is growing in my home state is so exciting. But I know we briefly touched on this, but I want to hear a little bit more. You talk about meeting the consumer where they're at. How many people come into Guisinger and are this is insane, $16 for a vodka cocktail. I can just get a vodka shot down the street for $1 versus, do you feel like you have to butter those type of people up, or how can the customers taking it? I'm assuming they love it after they have it. But.
Yeah. I mean, people, you get all kinds of surprises from people. But I think where we excel and where you're not going to walk away thinking that you were, so overcharged for a $15 drink is that we're serving you to meet that that kind of price
Yeah.
and the service that you're going to get and the level of attention and detail you're going to get is going to meet that. Or we hope so. Like, I think people come in and have that experience, and the overall experience that they get to have and show other people in groups that they get to come in with. I hope that, the price of a cocktail is the last thing they're thinking about. But at the same time, it's not that we are, we put a lot into a lot of the drinks that we make, and especially a lot of our house-made seasonal kind of stuff there's tons of prep and tons of thought and detail that go into how we're executing that. And so we have to price that out somewhere, and then things are just getting more expensive, as you know. We deal with a lot of imports and tariffs kind of stuff that kind of spiked for a while and is now balancing back out, but it just changes things, and prices are always getting bumped up incrementally, and you have to, I'm expected to keep all of our drinks the same price, right? And people are come in and they want to pay the same price, but it's hard to do that when my prices go up on the other side all the time, So I think, again, we just try to make sure that we're giving the level of service and experience that people are not going to be really worried about. They're not thinking that they were overcharged for, what they had that night. It is funny though. We do have bars down the street that, on Dixon that you can literally, you can get the cheapest of drinks. And my sister, who lives in New York now, and her boyfriend Joe come down, and we go to a Razorback game, and then we go to JJ's after the game, and then spend $100 for 6 people to drink however many beers and whatever and eat. And it's like, how'd we just do that? So yeah, I think we're still on the small side of cost. When you go to these big cities, it gets a little crazy.
Sure.
Like you were talking to that bartender about how he prepares his bananas for his banana cocktails for 30 minutes. It's so much thought. It's not just shaving a banana into the cocktail.
Yeah, it's culinary techniques that are being into the bar world to take ingredients and manipulate them into something that you can get them into a drink, and people are satisfied drinking them. And it's a lot of stuff to learn and kind of figure out. But it's a ton of fun.
I appreciate it because so I'm from Philly, and then I moved to Arkansas. But when we go home to the East Coast or New York, we went to Bar Clemente over the holidays. We also went to the Library Bar, Rittenhouse in Philadelphia, also a very well-known bar. And we had this great weekend, and we went to all these cool places, and Ace and I looked at each other and we're like, yeah, but Bentonville has and Fayetteville has the same cool thing. It doesn't feel like that out of this world anymore. No. And it's because people like you are bringing that now to Arkansas small towns. Why can't we have it, right? Why can't we create that?
But it is why can't we have that? And it's fun for me on this, last trip that I took up there and went to a lot of the great bars. You see things and you go, well, we do that the exact same way. And not to say oh, we do that. It's nice to see. It's oh, good. We're doing that how they're doing that. But that's what I go up there to see. I'm like, I would love to just be like, hey, can we step behind the curtain here? Can I look at how you're doing prep? Can I ask you how your par sheets are? Can I ask you how you come in for the day and running it in, just little things like that. It's how do y'all do this and that? And trying to make sure that we're doing it the most efficient and best way. But it's fun to see that things aren't that far off, like you're saying, and that we're getting to create spaces that feel like spaces and places that are way ahead of us in terms of head start and hospitality. But we have people that walk through our door all the time and they go, wow, this feels like it's in a big city or something. And that's so cool. That's, we love that.
Yeah.
But feel like you're walking in and kind of coming into this different environment is awesome. And being right here on the square in the corner, we have such a cool spot in town. That certainly adds to that kind of downtown atmosphere.
Yeah, I also think as you're a kid growing up in Arkansas public schools and thinking about what you want to do, at least we never, and at Russellville, never talked about anything culinary, right? Never you can go be a chef or be a bartender. And these are legit careers and you can have a great life and bring a lot of joy to a lot of people with these careers. And in other places, a lot of people do these things. So
right.
it's exciting.
I mean, in Europe, people are trained from 14 and go to hospitality schools and like hotel schools. And like, there's like this huge culture of it. It's kind of coming to America now. I'm like, but yeah, no, it takes it at no point in your childhood are you looking up and kind of thinking about that. I think I loved food. I loved cooking. I loved, that kind of stuff. But that was just always kind of in the back of my head. When I got behind the bar and started learning stuff, and then I went and worked at Vault, and Sean, who ran Vault, is very like kind of a food or a bar chef kind of like title is what he used to call himself. But it's to say that taking the techniques, the pairings, the flavors from the culinary world that have been thought about and taught for forever, and then taking that into the bar world. And I think there was a connection when I saw that happening, and I was like, oh, I have this kind of love for the food stuff and flavor and stuff. And I think it's like, oh, you can meet these worlds in the middle. And then again, I think when you find an opportunity like I was given, you kind of had to just say yes and run with it. It's not, and I think that when we talk about the people that are in this world, I think there's a lot of people that don't know that next step. And I think it's always been important for me to know that next step and be working towards it. And kind of the moment that I felt like I didn't have that in front of me, then like maybe this path wasn't going to work out, but I don't know. It's always, there's always been something to work forward towards for me. And I'll keep doing that as long as I have it.
Have you thought about working with local colleges, universities, or even high school students? Would you take an intern? Like, what does that look like to you to make people see like, oh, this is an option?
Able to realize that that's there, which I guess, falls on my shoulder in the industry going forward. As people like me to open that up and say, here's. But again, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I went through school and kind of fumbled around and did different things. And it was like in the background, I'm kind of working through restaurants. And the first place I got to work, I started as a dishwasher and got to really work through everywhere in the kitchen and got to see all that. I worked for people that kind of learned what it was to like kind of buy into and a smaller team. And I think all those things building over time, I think the hospitality comes from my mom and my dad. And I think the family that I was raised in, I think I've always had that kind of in me. And so all these things kind of come along for a while, and then given opportunity, I think it also shows where you kind of have some passion, and that is obviously shown for me. And I've been super grateful for the path so far, for sure.
I even remember when your dad would bring the Warren tomatoes out in the summer. Like, just even like he would be so excited to show everybody.
And my mom's bread that used to get hand delivered to people's houses.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Or, looking at the snow day hangouts that would be hosted. And I look back at that and still inspired about just like how you make people feel when you come into their home. And it's like, how can we make people feel like that when they come into our establishment here?
Okay, I know our listeners.
Arkansas Martha Stewart.
I know our listeners are going to wonder too, what the heck are Warren tomatoes? What is that? Is that in Arkansas?
If they don't know, they're missing out.
That means good.
So my dad is from
I don't know. Tell
Warren,
me.
Arkansas. And it's in Bradley County, and they grow a specific type. They grow a lot of tomatoes down there. There's a lot of tomato farms. The soil is like high in acid or something, or I don't know. They grow well. But they have a specific, they have a really specific species called the Bradley pink tomato, and it's like incredibly delicious. I grew up on eating a lot of those tomatoes, so I love tomatoes. I can slice them up, salt and pepper, and eat them all day. But they don't like ship well. They're very perishable, and so it's not like something that could grow and be branded and put in supermarkets. So it's always been like, you have to get them within this 2-week period, and then you have to get them out and eat them, within the next like month or whatever.
And so it sounds like the guy here needs to do like a Bloody Warren or a Bloody Mary version.
That's a good name. I like that.
That is a good name.
Let's go.
We've done some tomato things and played around with different. I've played around with different inspiration, trying to find the right naming, but it needs to. It's never been anything that's sustained on the menu, so we need to figure that out and make it happen. But I like the bloody Warren. That's pretty good. But yeah, my dad would just go and bring back like a truckload of cases
So
of
cool.
tomatoes and give them out to all the different people that wanted them. But yeah, little things like that. Like that's like a little moment of like, oh, what a special little thing. And somebody gives me this and it's a special little treat.
Yeah.
And I think like it's like I love gift giving, but I'm not a good gift giver. I struggle and procrastinate and don't get, what I really wanted to get someone. But like giving little, like we get to give little gifts here all the time, or like finding those little ways that we can do that and get gift little experiences. I think we're pretty good at that. So it's fun.
Even like talking about like where you walk in and feel important, like Quiznos in Russellville, which was owned by Robert and Dennis for so long.
Perfect.
Like it, it's like a sandwich shop, right? It's nothing like groundbreaking or new, but like the environment they were able to curate, like there was a line out the door most days, right? Like you had to wait for a long time for your sandwich and everyone would wait.
That is a huge, I didn't mention them, but them and how they ran a business and how they dealt with people certainly has a huge impact on me. Knowing people's names and just saying their name when they walk in, and like, or we have people wait. We have long wait lists on the weekends, and going out and talking to somebody who just got put on a wait list and saying their name and saying, hey, we'll look at this and see when we can get you in and try to work this out as quick as possible or whatever. And maybe we don't do anything. Maybe we have no options and we can't do anything. But I think just like, saying hello to people, it makes people feel special in their own right. But like, especially walking into the bar and like people that they know are in here, and then you say hello to them, and I don't know, it's fun to play that role kind of.
Well, it's just, it's so fun to hear everything you're doing.
So NA, is it a trend? Are you leaning into it? What's your take on it?
I don't know. I get
July, January.
Now I was in New York recently. There's a couple different bars.
Tell everyone what NA is.
Non-alcoholic.
There you go.
There's a couple different bars popping up there that are completely NA programs, and we'll see. Will it work like that in a town like that? Probably. I don't think we're quite there. We have mocktails that we offer and want people to have and be, want people to know that we're putting, the same kind of level of effort into those mocktails that we do our cocktails, and using NA spirits and whatnot. And I think we see a good amount of sales of those and an NA beer option as well. But I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't know if it's just a trend. I see a lot of articles about the zebra drinking. People are going to go to the water and then the beer and then the non-alcoholic and then the cocktail and whatnot. And so, we'll see. I'll be watching the mocktail sales this year because I don't feel like it's happened yet. At least not here.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel.
I love it. Thanks for the commentary on that.
Same thing.
Because I do feel like every bar.
There was a lot. We were getting the like CBD THC seltzers for a while, and they were telling us this is what people are going to want. Yeah, and I'm like, bringing us brands that kind of matched our brand and not. And I was like, all right, these are interesting. I don't think I've had anyone come in and ask and be like, that's the customer side.
Do you notice like a trend in drinking with like our parents' generation versus like our generation? Like,
that's a good question.
We recently were out of the country and we're at a wine tasting, and they were saying that like for wines, younger people are like drinking so differently than their parents did. Like the parents just want to drink heavy cabs and like versus young people like to mix it up.
Okay, yeah, you're saying
different.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, old people have their drink. It's crazy, Old people have their drink, and whether that's a spirit or whether that's a brand or whether that's a martini, but like they have their drink and that's how they want it. So again, going back to meeting people where we're at, some lady comes in here and wants this martini with this way with this specs. We'll try to match that as best we can. But it is funny to see. I especially am like this. Like people ask me what my favorite cocktail is or what I like to drink or this and that. It's like anything and like whatever I find interesting on your menu. If that's a beer, if that's a cocktail, if we're drinking wine, I want something interesting. I want something different. I want something with like flavor. I want I don't want the same, cab every time. I don't want just a dirty martini every time. I think there's time and a place for a lot of different cocktails, especially classic cocktails. There's a lot of different ones I like, and there's a different meal and a different time for a lot of those. Sometimes you really want that dirty martini. Sometimes you just want to crush an espresso martini. Sometimes, I want to sip a good whiskey on a rock. Like, it totally varies.
Yeah.
So it is funny. I hadn't thought of that much, but yeah, old people definitely have their drink, and I guess young people in general are wanting to be surprised a little more.
I'm like that too. Like, my grandmother would just drink like a cold white wine any time of the year, any meal. Like,
oh yeah,
that's what she
give
wanted.
me a cold savvy bean. We hear that all the time.
And I like cannot do, like, I'm like, what's the weather? Like, is it warm? Is it cold? Like, that also differs what I'm going to be drinking.
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
if like the inside temperature is the same. I'm a vibe drinker. I feel like
I don't eat soup when it's 108 degrees outside.
Exactly.
There is a time and a place for every different cocktail, I think. And I see this too with the spirit thing, and people going, well, I don't drink gin. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, well, it doesn't agree with me or whatever. And it's like, all the spirits are going to, generally affect you the same way. It's not the botanicals in the gin that are hurting you. But yeah, it's fun to then get someone like that and say, well, try this gin. We have a barrel-aged gin old fashioned on our menu, and it's one of my favorite drinks on the menu. And it's a barrel-aged gin from Vermont where they use honey in it. And then it has a little bit of a tiny bit of elderflower liqueur in it. And it sips like an old fashioned, but it has some of that kind of botanical floral notes, and it is delicious. But it's so fun to give to people who don't like gin, and then they love it,
Okay, well, I don't really like gin, so I should try that one.
You should try it.
Yeah,
I should. Okay, Kate, you want to get into the rapid fire?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, wait, we're just gonna ask you a ton of questions. Give us your first answer, okay?
All right.
Favorite meal in Arkansas? Doesn't have to be Northwest Arkansas.
Oh, I feel like I'm gonna miss one. That's so tough. I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go
DeLuca's Pizza in Hot Springs. I'm gonna say that my last meal there was one of the best meals that we've had in a while. That's vibe. That's food. Everything about that place is a lot of fun.
Love it. Okay, I know you're an Arkansas Razorback fan. Basketball's in season. Who's your favorite Razorback right now?
Oh, definitely Darius Acuff. And I'm in a boat with a lot of people on that, but he's just a fun player. I mean, he's one of the best players we've probably ever had at the school. So no hot takes here, but he really reminds me of like a early 2000s, like Allen Iverson, or like just the kind of style of play. He wears the longer shorts. He just kind of got this like 90s 2000s vibe. I don't know why that I say that, but it hits for me, and the way he plays is just like effortless. It's fun.
I'm getting into basketball this season too, because Vandy's pretty good. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's such a fun sport to watch, and especially speaking to the coaching staff, we've made an incredible connection with a lot of the assistant coaches that like to come into Guisinger, and I've been able to make personal connections with them. Chin Coleman and Bruiser Flint and a lot of the rest of the staff, I would call them, good regulars of ours, and it's been a lot of fun to make that relationship. And I've gotten to go to the game with them a couple of times, and so it's a lot of fun to be in a position where I could have that opportunity to make the relationship, and especially with a team and staff like we have, it's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, weekend off, like where you can go anywhere in Arkansas, like where are you going to chill, relax?
Yes.
Buffalo River, like where's your favorite?
I want to get outside for sure, or just like maybe go play a bunch of golf. I don't know. My ideal weekend might be going to the Buffalo area. I've been running a ton, so I'd maybe just get out there and do some like trail running. I would love that. I'm very close to purchasing a gravel bike. It's going to be my new intro back into. I had a mountain bike for a while, and I was like, this is not for me. I'm going to wreck and die. I don't understand how people do this. I'll take it a little easier than that.
I know you said you can't just have one, but let's say right now, January 26th, you're in Fayetteville, you're at the bar, maybe you're grabbing dinner too. What is the go-to cocktail right now?
So I would say, depending on where I'm at, let's say I'm at somewhere nice that can make a good martini. My favorite martini is the Vesper martini. It's like the James Bond one that he mentions. And so it's mostly gin, has a little bit of vodka in there, which I guess is just for balancing, but old recipes, you follow them. And then it has a vermouth called Lillet. And it used to be Kina Lillet. Now it's a brand that makes it a Lillet. It's a Blanc vermouth, so a fortified white wine. And then with the lemon twist over the top. I like to make it with the Bar Hill gin we talked about earlier, but the non-aged one. And it also is finished with the raw honey from the Vermont distillery and farm that they run. And so with that particular gin in it, it has just the most incredible, like light honey kind of floral note, but just a strong martini.
So good.
It's one of my favorite. The lemon twist on top. It's hard to explain like how much that does for it, and that's like one of those things that I first had, and it's like, wow, have it without, terrible, have it with it, amazing. And it's like, that's what the attention to detail in cocktails means. It's like every little thing has a reason, and I kind of became obsessed with that because of that drink.
Okay, good. You can make us one next time we come in.
And shaken. Some people say you shouldn't shake the gin because it bruises it, but
you should.
I disagree. You should shake it and get it. I think it's expressing all the flavors in there.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
Yes.
For all of our Russellville folks, what's your favorite go-to meal in Russellville whenever you're back home?
Oh my gosh, and I missed both of them the last time I drove through there. Number one, 100% Taco Villa. I crave Taco Villa more than anything in my life. It's funny, we used to do like yard work days or like big chore days at the house, and we would always have Taco Villa. And so I notice anytime I do something like that in my life now, I'm like, get this total craving for Taco Villa, and I can't fill it, and it drives me crazy. But I drove through the other day and they were closed, but second one that was also closed, Fat Daddy's Barbecue, I love.
So good.
Yeah.
And there's so many places in Russellville that are just like, have that nostalgia. You'll laugh at this. My mom used to like pick us up from school and be like, we're going to Taco Villa, and it was like 3, right? Like it was an awkward time to eat, and she would get like the biggest burrito ever and like eat it like in the car on the way home from school. And it's like my favorite memory of Taco Villa. Like my mom would do this like once a month.
Cash only. Yeah. I could give like my full order, I could run through probably half the menu there. I love that place. And nothing special, but just so delicious. And Quiznos too, back in the day. And I tell people that I'm like, I love Quiznos, and they're like, what? Quiznos? Like you wouldn't get it.
So good.
It was one of one.
You wouldn't get it.
The Robert Dennis Quiznos was one of one.
And the Whataburger down there. I feel like when
Whataburger.
People don't talk, when you mention that up here, they're like, Whataburger, like there's one on every corner, like it's no big deal. I'm like, no.
No, that is like literally so good. Another place that was maybe one of my all-time favorites, Nothing Fancy, and closed years ago, but Nothing Fancy in the mall was a crazy little restaurant. It's so good. And Russellville, I feel like has like changes happening that I never would expect. That new little bar that they opened down there, Handlebar, yeah. It looks really awesome. I haven't had the chance to go, but like looks like they did a really good job with it, and the way they're activating the downtown area, it makes me proud a little bit.
I mean, even Old Bank, we went. I had my bachelorette party in Russellville, and like we had like all of my friends there, and Covington Creek played. It was so electric. It was so fun. And everyone was like, did y'all come here and, in high school? I'm like, no, this is all, more or less recent. It's so exciting to see there's like a busting downtown scene too.
Yeah, it is very cool to see. I don't know if it'd get me back yet, but I'm happy to see it.
You've been great. I think the one thing maybe just to end on, if there's any sneak peeks or events we should be aware of to get people into the Guisinger.
Yeah.
Anything you can tease us with?
I would say definitely just be on the lookout. There's definitely some things that are going to change. We're going to start incorporating some more live music opportunities with some jazz and possibly just doing some more kind of event-focused things in the next couple months around wine and different spirits and stuff, and some educational and tasting type of things. So there'll definitely be announcements coming, but these are months where we get to kind of explore those different kind of things, and we're not just going gangbusters. So definitely look out for those.
Oh, I can't wait to come next time I'm in town.
Please. Yes, thank y'all. It's been a lot of fun. It's fun to talk about what's happening here, because I think there's a lot of excitement to it.